Here we go. Welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. As always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And what we have coming up, I'm back from Indianapolis. I was at the NFL Combine all throughout last week. Had an opportunity to see all of these draft prospects up close and personal. So it is the perfect time to give you my 49ers Mock Draft 2.0 after being in Indy all throughout last week, gathering some intel and scouting these players. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for nonstop Niners free agency and draft coverage. NFL free agency begins on Monday. That's when the Niners can start signing players. Anytime they make a move, we're going to talk about it. NFL draft coming up at the end of April, and right here on this program, we're giving you the best content right here on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, join the movement, lock us in, and let's get to 193,000 subscribers ASAP. With the first pick in the first round for San Francisco, they're on the board, on the clock, with the 27th overall selection. The 49ers finally go offensive line. Everybody I talked to at the Combine who covers the National Football League, when I asked them, what do the Niners need to do to improve, to catch the Seattle Seahawks? They all said, the Niners need to address the offensive line. The Niners, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, think otherwise. So I don't really know where the Niners are going to go with this selection, but what I think they need to do is draft a developmental offensive tackle, because at some point here soon, Trent Williams is going to retire because Father Time is undefeated. And in the meantime, they can draft a player who can play guard and really improve this offensive line. And I think this player has tremendous upside. Max Iheanachor, offensive tackle out of Arizona State. 6'6", 321 pounds, a senior. He is a fast-rising player who had a great Senior Bowl and a phenomenal NFL Combine. I do believe that traits matter when evaluating offensive linemen, especially offensive tackles, and Iheanachor has those traits. Basketball feet. He is a very fluid mover, and he glides on the football field for a guy of his stature and his size. What's crazy, and this is a little bit of a negative, but it goes to show you how far he's come in a short amount of time. It's pretty raw. He is new to the game of football, but to watch him go through the drills the way that he did at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, he looked incredible. He only started playing football in 2021, earned a relative athletic score of 991, checked in at 6'5", 321 pounds, the vertical over 30 inches, the broad also elite there, and he clocked a 40-yard dash at 321 pounds of 491. What do offensive linemen, especially offensive tackles, need to be able to do in Kyle Shanahan's offense? Get out in space, move well, both as a pass blocker downfield, but of course, obviously, as a run blocker. And Iheanachor is able to do that at a really high level. Now, you look at some of the PFF grades here in 2025. Solid, 72.5 the overall, pass blocking, 78.3, run blocking, 66.8. He did not give up a sack. Because he's a little bit new to the game of football, he did have some penalties. There could be some bumps and bruises here, but what you're looking for is a player who can develop greatly over time, and I believe that he can do that. Did give up 14 pressures on top of those 8 penalties, but I think the upside here is tremendous, and he might not even be available with the 27th overall pick, but in my mock draft simulation, he was. Niners go wide receiver here in round 2 with a player who I think a lot of Niners fans will fall in love with. Antonio Williams, the wide receiver out of Clemson, with the 50th overall pick. 5'11", 187 pounds, a redshirt junior. He can play inside and outside. I think at the NFL level, he's better equipped to play on the inside, and that's fine. It's not a knock on him at all. Jackson Smith-Njigba just won Offensive Player of the Year as a slot wideout. Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown in 2021 doing the same thing. Williams, dynamic with some wiggle after the catch, Kyle Shanahan loves yak wide receivers because the yak production always high in this offense. Williams can succeed against man and zone. And this guy is just a football player, a baller, who told me this past week that he likes blocking, as you're about to hear, because he said, quote, no block, no rock. His numbers in 2025, he was a little bit injured, did have a hamstring injury. I know that can concern a lot of Niner fans, but the production in 10 games was still really good. 72 targets, 55 catches, more than 604 yards, or 604 yards on the dot, I should say, more than 600 in general. 11 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns, and only 1 drop. He did have 8 drops in 2024, a little bit of a problem, but he was able to clean that up in 2025. His 2024 production outside of those 8 drops, excellent. 75 catches for 904 yards and 11 touchdowns. A player who graded out well athletically, relative athletic score of 909. Probably not good enough, obviously, to be a first rounder, but we're taking him here in the back half of the second round. 5'11", 187, vertical leap. This can measure short area quickness and burst. Obviously, the opportunity and the ability to go up and get it, 39.5 inches, the broad over 10 feet, and he ran very well. A 4.41 40-yard dash. I interviewed him the other day, and here's our conversation from the NFL Combine in Indy. How'd your meeting go with the San Francisco 49ers?
How'd you know I had a meeting with him?
Because that's what you said.
Oh, I said that?
Yeah.
It went good. I obviously have a lot of respect for, what they do and what they're about. And I can see kind of my game, meshing in really well with those guys. Shanahan and Mr. Lynch is a great guy and a great role model. I got a lot of respect for him and his time as a player, and then transitioning into the GM role. I had a really good meeting with them, and we'll see what happens.
How familiar are you with Kyle Shanahan's offense, and what do you like about it?
Just familiar in the ways, no block, no rock, and getting your nose in there. That's kind of the reason that I try to make that shift in mindset this year in my blocking game and in the run game. All the cool ways he can set plays up out of that. But at the end of the day, just helping your brothers.
What do you like about blocking?
I feel like if I'm not getting the ball, it's a good way to get some adrenaline going. Stick your nose in there and get all those jitters out first play or whenever it is. Just kind of gets you going a little.
A dog, and what the Niners need, some dogs. Round 3, pick number 92. Let's address the defensive line and get a pass rusher who I think can be an excellent player at the NFL level, whose set of skills really translates. Dani, Dennis-Sutton. Some people thought going into 2025, he could be a first-round pick. I thought he tested well, looked really good in Indy over the weekend, and the size, it's certainly there, man. He's got an NFL body, 6'5", 265 pounds, a senior. He can win with quickness and power. You think about some of the pass rushers that Penn State program has developed recently, Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter. They all had that linebacker background, playing off ball a little bit early in their Penn State careers. Dennis-Sutton has that as well. His hands are strong and violent. He can mix up his attack. He's good as a run stopper. Niners value that from the defensive end spot. And he can get after the quarterback. 42 tackles for the Nittany Lions in 2025. When you turned on games, you saw him consistently making plays. 12 TFLs, 8.5 sacks, 50 pressures. He can win with violence. He can win with moves. He can win with athleticism, speed, and strength. He's also disruptive. 3 forced fumbles. The year that Penn State 2 years ago nearly made it to the national championship when they made a nice little run in the college football playoff, he was opposite of Abdul Carter and fared very well. 8.5 sacks with those 45 pressures, 13 TFLs. So his final 2 years, double-digit TFLs with 5 combined forced fumbles. He's a disruptive player, and the Niners need more of that. And with that size, it kind of fits the prototype for what the Niners like at that defensive end spot. Long, athletic, very physical. I think there's room to build to his frame. A 9.93 relative athletic score, a vertical leap of 39.5 inches, a broad of more than 10 feet 11 inches, a 40-yard dash of under 4.63. A 40-yard dash of 4.63. The fine print, a little bit hard for me to read there. 4.63 40-yard dash at nearly 260 pounds. This guy is freaky, and I love him in the third round for the Niners. Let's go linebacker. I think the Niners need to address off-ball coverage linebacker to get some good players and better players alongside Fred Warner. And what better player to learn from if you're Bryce Boettcher out of Oregon than Fred Warner? Round 4, 127. Also had an opportunity to spend a couple of minutes with Boettcher. High class, high character guy. He met with John Lynch at the Senior Bowl, and he met with the Niners again at the NFL Combine. His dad was a huge John Lynch fan, and he walked into a room, Boettcher did, and he's like, "That's John Lynch. My dad used to be a really big fan." 6'2", 232, a senior, range and awareness, big components to his game, and some of that range evidenced by him being drafted as a center fielder by the Houston Astros in the 13th round. He can move to his right. He can move to his left. He can move in. He can move back. You need those traits at the linebacker spot, and those are the traits that you need when you're playing center field. He is an instinctual player who plays the game with really good feel, really good awareness, reading and diagnosing skills. He's a type of see ball, get ball linebacker, and he has really good eyes. I think down the road, he can be an excellent player. And keep in mind, Fred Warner out of BYU, he was drafted in the 3rd round. So the Niners clearly have interest in Boettcher, meeting with him at the Combine and at the Senior Bowl, as I mentioned. More to get to with our mock draft coming up. But a lot of you have been asking me, Chase, can you release and design some 49ers Report shirts? We're doing it. We have been designing shirts like crazy here at the company, and I really appreciate everybody for supporting the movement and supporting what we do. Show me that you love the 49ers, and show me that you're a true, real one, that you love this channel by getting a 49ers Report shirt. They're available right now, and you'll get it in a few days. chatsports.com/49ers Show logo on the front, and anybody who makes a purchase, I will get real-time updates seeing who exactly made a purchase, so that I know who's really a real one. chatsports.com/49ers They're also very affordable. You can rep the Niners. You can support the show, and you can look good in the process. When I was in San Francisco, when I was in Indy for the NFL Combine, so many people were stopping me at the convention center on the street saying, "I love your Niners content." Well, rep it. 49ers Report shirts at chatsports.com/49ers All right, a few more picks to go here. Zane Durant, the defensive tackle out of Penn State, is a player who I really like. Round 4, 133 overall. Another player who I think could rise up some draft boards with how he tested at the NFL Combine. Now, he does play defensive tackle. He's a little bit smaller for a defensive tackle. He's 6'1", under 300 pounds. But this is a freak of an athlete here who made Bruce Feldman's freak list. Looking at one of the top athletes in college football going into 2025. What do the Niners need at defensive tackle? They need interior rushers who can get after the quarterback, because C.J. West and Alfred Collins are more run-stopping defensive tackles. It looks like the Niners are not going to bring back Kalia Davis or Jordan Elliott. So they need to fulfill needs, multiple, at the defensive tackle spot. And I think Zane Durant could be a great player who you can use in obvious pass rushing situations to get after the opposing quarterback. Great motor against the run. He will fight against the run, even though he's a little bit smaller, and he's so quick and slippery to make disruptive plays in the backfield. He could struggle against double teams, but if you put him alongside a C.J. West and alongside an Alfred Collins with Nick Bosa on the field, the double teams might be going to those guys, opening up some one-on-ones for Zane Durant. A 9.22 relative athletic score. Again, 6'1", 290 pounds, but he ran a sub 4.8 40-yard dash at 290. His vertical leap, 33.5 inches. His broad, more than 9 feet. I mean, this is a freaky athletic tester. And remember, I'm not comparing the two players, but athletically, there are some comps here. because Aaron Donald, when he was coming out of Pittsburgh, was a smaller defensive tackle, and he turned into one of the best players in the history of football. He was, Aaron Donald, 6 feet, 285 pounds. That was lighter than Zane Durant. And you look at some of the other numbers here, the 40-yard dash, 4.75 for Zane Durant, 4.69 for Aaron Donald, the 20-yard split, 2.79 to 2.73, the 10-yard split, that's important, 1.66 to 1.63, the vertical, 33.5 inches. Higher for Zane Durant than for Aaron Donald, and the broad, nearly identical. Quite the player athletically to be compared to. Oscar Delp, tight end out of Georgia. I think the Niners need to look at tight ends in this draft. And there are some good ones that you can find at about this point. Some people might think that taking Oscar Delp here is a little bit too high. I disagree. And I sat in on his interview too, and he said, a lot of people look at me as just a blocking tight end, and they think that's my only strength. I actually look at myself as a receiving tight end. The fact that he can do both and thrive with both is very important, and he could be a developmental player for the post-George Kittle era. I like the size, the athleticism. Did get flagged medically with a foot injury, but by the time that the 2026 season comes around, I think he'll be fine. And then I've been talking about this. I think the Niners need a ball-producing, ball-hawking safety. Bishop Fitzgerald is one of the best players at that in college football. So I'm going to go Bishop Fitzgerald, the safety out of USC, round 5, 171. So that is my mock draft 2.0 in the aftermath of the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine. Grade my mock, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know. Sound off with what you think. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.